Welcome to the Puck Buddy Podcast. Hey everyone, you're here with Cameron Che.
Hello.
And you're here with Bo Hendrickson.
Howdy ho.
Hi ho. And then you're here with me, myself, and I'm Eddie Morad. And we are about to get ready to give you a taste of Week 15. And this is our 21st podcast. And so we're excited to be here with you guys today.
Knock knock.
Who's there, Cameron?
You.
Eddie. Oh, me or you? Who? God.
Okay, for
so
our listeners,
bad
we're
at
going to try
these.
that one more time.
Like it wasn't rehearsed or anything.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
You.
You who?
Yoo-hoo, big summer blowout.
Definitely dragged
I want to
that
let
up.
everyone know that's listening to our podcast. That is the third attempt we have made to do that funny little joke in the intro. We're going to keep it like that.
That's all the news we have for this week. Moving on. No, I'm going to let Cameron take over from here. I've had enough already.
Okay, so news. We all know that the All-Star Game was this weekend, but first I'm going to talk about a few tidbits here and there, just randomly across the league. I'm going to begin with the New York Islanders, who, hilariously enough, have been kicked out of Barclays Center in 2018-2019.
No.
It's hilarious unless you are an Islanders fan.
No.
The Islanders currently have the third worst attendance in the NHL, and the financial projection for the 2018-2019 season is that the team will no longer be making any financial contributions to Barclays Center. So, Mikhail Prokhorov, although I like to call him Porkorov, saw this as a clear signal that the team will not be able to play there any longer. Yeah, Bo, it's Porkorov, okay? All right, some more Islander news. Thomas Greiss was just signed to a 3-year, $10 million contract extension, which is awesome. Seeing as how Halak has been sent to the minors, they kind of had no choice but to do this.
I mean, Greiss has earned it at this point.
Yeah, he's played very well. I hope that he can continue his stellar play. With the Sharks, he kind of was up and down, so we'll see. Another person, John Tavares, has been mentioning, and they've been talking about extending his contract with the Isles, but we have no confirmation whether or not that's going to happen, so we will keep you guys updated once we learn more. Okay, moving on from the Islanders, I'm going to move on to probably the best team so far in the first half, which is the Colorado Avalanche.
Lol.
If best meant worst. Now, who do you think is going to leave Colorado before the trade deadline? I know that they've been talking a lot about moving some pieces, and two names that have been floating around have been Duchesne and Landeskog. Who do you guys think is going to go?
Duchesne.
Bo, what about you?
Definitely Duchesne.
More talent, more cap space, and they get to keep their captain with Landeskog.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Duchesne will go. So we will also keep you guys updated on that once that unfolds. Okay, now let's move on to the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend, because that was a lot of fun. So, just a really small thing. Gretzky got to replace John Tortorella as the All-Star coach, who was out with personal reasons, and he won. So,
yeah,
way to go, Gretzky. Also, Mike Smith, goaltender for the Arizona Coyotes, I don't know if anybody saw this, but he sniped the 5-hole slot from the opposite end, the opposite goal line, and got 20 points for the Pacific Division in that competition. It was amazing.
Yeah, runner-up, got 1 point.
Yeah.
We won 23.
It was 23-0-1-1. That's the score.
It was
and
awesome.
It was great. Okay. Fastest skater, I don't think this was in question, really. But Connor McDavid did not beat Dylan Larkin's record, but he did skate very, 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 very fast.
Very fast.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hardest shot competition was Shea Weber. Again, not a surprise there. The one surprise to me was that Pattrick Laine beat out Brent Burns. So
and had a friggin' slap shot over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, 101.7.
He was the only other one to get over 100. So
good for him.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, spoiler alert, but the Metro won the All-Star 3v3 tournament against the Pacific 4-3, and beat the Atlantic 10-6 in the semifinal. Wayne Simmons, Mr. Bruce Wayne Simmons, the Dark Knight, was voted the All-Star MVP for the weekend, which is amazing. Congrats to him.
Hell yeah.
And I think I am going to finish this off with two quick things. One, We got Alain Vignon, the coach for the New York Rangers, just got an extension for $12.25 million for 3 seasons, or until 2019-2020. The New York Rangers record with him as coach is 175, 97, 23, and they got to the Cup final once, losing in 5 games to the Kings. So, congrats for Alain Vignon. Hopefully they continue to do well, except against the Sharks.
Yeah.
And then, the last thing, 3 stars of the week. Number 2 is the best person ever. But number 1, we got Bruce Wayne Simmons with 2 goals in 2 games and the NHL All-Star MVP. In 3rd place, you got Frederik Andersen in goal with 2 shutouts, facing 48 shots against the Flames and the Red Wings. And number 2, Mr. Shark.
Like a fine wine.
Like a fine wine. Gets better with age, except for in reality. Pattrick Marleau. He had 5 goals and 1 assist in 3 games, including a 4-goal third period that we have talked about before. So if you want to go back and watch those highlights, I suggest you do that.
One of the best highlights from his career, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, I think they're going to coin the term when you get 4 goals in 1 period. They're going to call it the Pat trick.
Yeah.
So much better than
that
the
makes
hat
very
trick.
much sense. Yes.
Yes.
And a hat trick for Pattrick. That was one of the best. That was one of the best calls. The natty hattie for Patty. All right, so
Awesome.
that does it for news. Let me move on to injuries real quick. We have a lot of comebacks this week, which is amazing and awesome for everybody who has these players in their lineup. Let me begin with Craig Anderson for the Senators. It was announced that he was back at practice on Monday and plans to return to action on February 7th against St. Louis. So a few more days before he's back, but he was at practice, which is a good sign. Hopefully his wife is doing well. I haven't heard anything about that, but we will keep you guys updated. Jakob Silfverberg of the Ducks took part in the morning skate and is expected to play in Tuesday's matchup, so Silfverberg is back. We got Tyson Barry Crunch. He missed 4 games prior to the All-Star break with a lower body injury, but he is ready to return to the lineup on Tuesday. We got John Carlson, a huge return for the Caps, even though they've been doing amazingly. He will return on Tuesday as well from his lower body injury. Get him into the lineup ASAP, unless the game's already started. I don't know what time it is. And then, lastly, Andrei Markov, after an 19-game absence, he will finally rejoin the Canadiens against the Sabres on Tuesday. Notable injuries to date that are still injuries. We got Max Domi of the Coyotes injured on December 8th against Calgary. He's on track to return in about 2 weeks, so keep that in mind. Alex Galchenyuk is considered day-to-day after he re-aggravated the same knee. It's not considered to be super serious, so that's a good thing, but we'll keep you guys updated. Barkov the Panthers missed the last 14 games with an upper body injury, specifically his back. He participated last Thursday's skate, so hopefully 2 weeks from now he'll be back. Huberdeau skated with the team with Barkov last Thursday, and hopefully will return in early March from his Achilles tendon injury. Tyler Toffoli been out since December 20th, but was able to finally skate last Sunday. Woohoo! So that's very good. Chris Letang missed the last 6 games with a knee injury. He has 23 points in 30 games, so he will be a game-time decision on Tuesday today for Mike Sullivan. I think if he doesn't play, the only reason would be to allow him to heal fully before the next game because he's such an important piece of that Penguins team. Jonathan Quick, hoping still for an early March return. He has not resumed skating still, so that to me is a bad sign, but we will keep you updated. And lastly, Jimmy Howard finally starting practicing again, but he will be playing with the AHL Grand Rapids Griffins for a little bit. He's been out since December 20th with an MCL sprain and missed the past 15 games. They need him back ASAP. So
Yesterday.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be back soon. And that does it for the injuries for now.
All right. Now that that's done, we're going to move right into our waiver wire picks of the week.
No sea el mejor de los cocineros, pero te aseguro que vas a extrañar mis huevos rancheros.
Hitting the wire, I'll start it off. And my pick of this week is Mr. Little playing a big game himself.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have been watching the Winnipeg Jets play at all, but Brian Little was pretty much manhandling the Sharks when they played him. Mm-hmm. Him and his line with Ehlers and everyone. So It's been good. It's been a good run. He's 36% owned, and he's only a center, which I know is tough in most leagues. Centers are very stacked at the position, but hear me out on this one. Right now, Brian Little's on a 5-game point streak and has 4 multi-point games in that span. He has been the most productive producer in the last 5 games, scoring almost 2 points per game. He has been centering the deadly line of Ehlers and Line, who can put the puck in the net. He has also been centering the top power play unit as well, which has tremendous upside with all the talent on the Winnipeg power play unit. Mm-hmm. Winnipeg also gets the 8th most power plays in the league, so that's pretty nice for them. But is all of this sustainable? That's the big question here? Is like, would you really want to pick him up? Is all of his production going to keep going? Mm-hmm. Looking at his possession stats, his Corsi for percentage has been above 53% in his last 4 seasons. That's so consistent. This season, he's at 53.9. He's familiar with that territory. It's going up this season. And he's been familiar with the territory as he's had 54% Corsi in his 70-game seasons 2 seasons ago. And in his 57-game season last season, he also put that up. So it's pretty amazing. Last season, he had 42 points in 52 games. That's a .81 point per game pace and was shooting at 13%. The 2014-15 season, he put up a 52 points in 70 games. That's a .74 point per game pace, and was shooting at 16%. Right now, he has 26 in 29 games. That's a .9 point per game pace. That's almost 1 point per game, and he's shooting at 20%. That's unsustainable. That's the only stat I think is really unsustainable. Ultimately, the pace is unsustainable at that rate, but the regression will be only very slight as compared to his career numbers, which is very stellar. Now he has better line mates on a better team, and if he remains healthy, he will be a great option for the rest of the season. That's all I got to say about that. Yep.
All right. Well, let me give you a couple of names right here. The first guy I'm going to give you is from the Minnesota Wild. As you know, their team has been playing really well. Everyone's been contributing, and lately it's been quite the flaming carousel of Minnesota players trying to figure out, who's going to be the hot one this week. Lately it's been Nino Niederreiter. He's been playing extremely well, getting 12 points in the past 9 games, producing at a 1.3 points per game pace. That's pretty crazy. But, who's been better lately, guys?
Who?
This guy, they were actually thinking about putting him on the terrorist watch list.
Oh,
because
no.
I've heard he's quite the bomb. And that's Jason Baumanville.
No way.
Jason Pominville. Has been scoring at a 1.4 points per game pace with 7 points in 5 games.
Ooh.
And that's, if you want to look even further than that, that's 11 points in the last 11 games. So he's been playing, on a whole nother level, seeing some time on the second power play unit as well, which is, pretty impressive for a third-line player. But, let alone this is in Minnesota on the first place team in the Central. Mm-hmm. And, that third line, even though it's a third line, has been the 7th most productive line in the NHL this past week. There's not really much more you could say about him. He's outperforming his normal career stats of late, putting up a Corsi for of, 51.5%?
Yeah.
And a PDO of 100 and a shooting percent of 7%. Man, those are good numbers. Really, yeah, he's been the bomb lately, no doubt. So
he's been the bomb.
Yeah, so even though this pace of 1.4 points per game might be a little unsustainable, with his average around 0.5 points per game, which he regularly gets, I mean that's still 45 points.
Yeah.
So I would be happy with that as a fantasy pickup, especially off the waiver wire. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm going to put this in perspective, if you don't mind me interrupting real quick.
Go ahead.
I have Pattrick Marleau, who we talked about as the second star of the week, and right now he's getting 0.54 points per game. And for me, that's such an awesome surprise that Marleau is getting that high of a points per game average. So the fact that 1.4 points per game, and even if he drops to 0.5 is like his normal, that's amazing.
That's very true.
So
yeah. So that's a beautiful thing right there. Definitely pick up Jason Pominville if he's on your waiver wire.
Put on your bomb suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go collect that off the waiver wire.
You gotta do it.
Safety first,
Send
of course.
in the robot. Send in the drone.
He's gonna be we're gonna start, the U.S. Army's gonna, start hiring him.
Sponsored by Pattrick Marleau.
Yes, sponsored
Of
by
course.
And the Bomb
Yes.
Squad.
The Bowmanville squad.
All right, guys. So let me give you one more name real quick. He's another third liner, but on a different team, and that's Andre Burakovsky. He's been playing on the Washington Capitals and has been on quite a tear lately. The past 2 weeks, he has 4 goals, 6 assists with a +7, 2 power play points, 11 shots on goal. And, he's been playing really well. He was on a 6-game point streak, but unfortunately, that got snapped. And then he responded by getting a multi-point game. So it doesn't matter, that the streak was snapped. He's still performing. He has 4 multi-point games in his past 6 games. So
Wow.
he's putting up numbers in bunches. So that's kind of surprising for a third-line player. But, we already mentioned this with Pominville. It doesn't matter what line you're on as long as you're producing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about picking up Andre Burakovsky right now if you can, especially on a Caps team that is scoring at a ridiculous rate right now. So I would say he's a good pickup.
Yeah, agreed. Especially looking at Washington's schedule this upcoming week. They have a pretty nice one. They're playing the Islanders,
definitely.
Boston. In Montreal will be tough, but LA Kings as well. Their home record's 18-6. They should be riding high, and they should be seeing some secondary scoring as well.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about 3 players right now. I have 1 forward and 2 defensemen. So I will start with my right winger, Radim Verbata. I don't have to really say much about this guy. He's ranked 155th overall on Yahoo rankings, and he's only 11% owned. But recently, he's been getting pretty hot. He had a 4-point performance against the Bolts with a goal and 3 assists, and then 6 points in the past 5 games after that game. So on the season, he has 11 goals, 23 assists, 10 power play points, 147 shots on goal, and 33 hits. So if you need a winger that will get you shots and points at the moment, Verbata seems like a pretty good option.
Yeah, it's a good thing he's on one of the top teams in the...
But at least his team has the lowest attendance of any team in the... They actually do. They have the lowest attendance.
Yeah.
That sucks. Okay, anyway, moving on. My first defenseman
Burn.
is someone that I'm pretty proud of picking because he's had a pretty good run the past week, but Dmitry Orlov. He is ranked 106th overall, 42% owned, with a 12% increase in the past week. Reason being, remember we said John Carlson was out. And by the way, Orlov's on the Caps, in case you didn't know. Well, it's no secret that the Caps have been on fire as of late. They are 13-1-2 in their past 16 games, and Orlov has been a big part of that with Carlson injured. On the season so far, Orlov has 4 goals, 21 assists, is +21, has 30 penalty minutes, 6 power play points, 75 shots on goal, and 77 hits. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Carlson did just return. So, Orlov's fantasy value has gone down just a little bit because Carlson is back. I still believe that Orlov is worth having as a 3rd or 4th defenseman. I don't know how you guys think about that, but I truly think Orlov has been pulling his weight, and I believe that as hot as the Caps are right now, it's never a bad idea to have a Cap on your team in your 3rd or 4th position. Mm-hmm. Now, moving on to my last defenseman, Adam Larsson. He's basically the Radko Gudas of the Edmonton Oilers. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. Larsson is ranked 210th and is 14% owned. He's been increasing his level of production recently with 6 assists in his last 7 games, but he's really more of a peripheral stat guy, as is Radko Gudas of the Flyers. Now, Larsson of the Oilers has 2 goals, 10 assists, is +11, 34 penalty minutes, 50 shots, and 154 hits. Whew. Okay, so that's all this season. In standardlings, Larsson brings hits and hopefully some more assists. But the reason Adam Larsson is on here for me is if your league keeps track of other stats, such as block shots, Larsson has 87 on the year. Ooh. That's good for 35th overall in the NHL.
That's really
good. Out of any player, any position. So for me, Larsson brings hits and block shots and is producing right now. Not a bad plus-minus either. I like Larsson as well as a 3rd or 4th pick, maybe a 4th pick. But as long as you have those peripheral stats in your league, he's going to help you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Well-
the 154 hits are the things that get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring in the pain.
Woo!
He's like, Taylor Hall, who?
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, I'll move on to my defenseman, and I have Nathan Beaulieu, I believe. Beaulieu.
Beaulieu? I don't know.
But yeah, he's 19% owned, so he's not very well owned. This I put into play when Markov was out. I didn't expect him to be back so soon, but I still consider this a good pick, even with Markov back in the lineup, just because he's been playing so well. He's been getting some exposure to the top power play unit with Shea Weber. He's been getting 60% of all power play time for D-men on Montreal, which is really, really good. This has obviously paid off as he's had 3 assists in the past 4 games, and they've all been power play points, which is awesome. The Habs have the second strongest power play percentage behind the Blue Jackets, which is 23.5%. In the past offseason, and according to Pro Hockey Rumors, Beaulieu has trained to get into the best physical condition of his career and has been rewarded with a career year so far, getting 19 points in 44 games, as well as a boost in ice time, seeing on average plus 3 more minutes a night.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. The Canadians have been stellar this season. They are 4th overall on save percentage, 5th in shots for percentage, and 4th in goals for percentage. So if this continues, you should see Nathan be getting an increase in playing time, power play minutes, and he should be in store for a great second half, even with Markov returning. So that's how I see him. It's a great ad.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to give you guys my defenseman. You know, here at the Puck Buddy podcast, we state facts and we like to tell the truth, right, guys?
Truth.
Sometimes. I mean, yes.
Yeah, most of the time.
Sometimes I go on Twitter and just say random false facts just to see if people believe me, but
I do that all the time.
I don't have a fake wig, so no one believes me.
As long as it's on the internet, it's true, according to
it's true?
the internet.
What?
Yeah, it's just like this next guy.
He's on the
Jacob
internet. And he... True.
True.
So this is real true, guys. He was the 5th most productive defenseman last week.
Oh, Truba?
So,
True?
Yeah, that's real true. And he
Wow.
had 6 points in 5 games,
Nice.
which is 1.2 points per games. And he had 6 shots and 11 hits in that span. So he was laying the body and putting it towards the net.
Nice.
So that's, he's been for a player on the Winnipeg Jets. It's kind of tough to be a defenseman there, but he's been playing real well. So he's been seeing the second most power play times on the Winnipeg Jets, only behind Big Buff, which is you're not going to take power play time away from that big man, but he has been seeing the most 5-on-5 time over Big Buff, which is that's pretty important, seeing that Big Buff is one of the best players on their team.
Yeah.
And Jacob Trouba has 26 to 28 minutes a night. That's that's probably top in the league right there. That's over a lot of defensemen, maybe up there with Doughty.
Yeah.
But he's averaging 2.35 shots a night right now, and that's far above his career average of 1.91. And you usually see Trouba as more of a shutdown defenseman, but he's starting to bring it offensively. He's throwing some shots on net while laying the body on, and he's the reason that their team went 3-2 against 5 top division teams like the Sharks, the Ducks, even Chicago and St. Louis. Well, I guess those are Western Conference teams, but still great competition. So if you need someone who's going to get you hits and shots and maybe a couple of points here and there, then I would say this is a very true pick to pick. So be true to yourself and pick Jacob Trouba.
So true, Bubba.
So true, Bubba.
So true.
Try to keep it true.
Now
Well,
tell us
guys.
how true it was.
Yes.
How true it was.
Oh my god. We need to stop.
Well, I think that's the transition I'm looking for our next point. Jimmy Howard. So we mentioned earlier that he is being removed off the IR after missing the past 15 games with a knee injury. So that's been really tough for the Red Wings, and they need him back as soon as possible. But unfortunately, he's going to have to spend some time in the AHL with the team, the Grand Rapid Griffins, for a little bit of a conditioning stint, to bring him back to NHL form. Luckily, they have 2 starting goaltenders right now with Mrazek and Crow, but we expect Howard to return and take that starting role in the near future. So if you're down a goalie and, you need to pick one up because there's not many starters out there, Jimmy Howard will be there soon. So look for him on your waiver wire because he is only 31% owned. So I'd pick him up.
How long do you think he'll be in the AHL, though?
Well, I honestly think probably as soon as he's ready, he's going to be called up. So I'm sure they'll give him maybe 3, maybe 5 games to kind of get back into that form because the Red Wings right now, they're struggling. They're bottom of their division. If they want to make a playoff push, they need Howard
him
now.
Yeah, I think as soon as he gets back into game shape, it could be as soon as a game or 2. It's as soon as he says he's ready to come back.
I think their season's almost lost at this point, so they shouldn't rush him if he's...
I was going to say don't force injury, so if he's ready, if he says he's ready, then he's ready. If not, they're going to keep him down there for a little bit, but I think Bo's prediction is pretty spot on.
Okay. I agree then. All right, let's move on to our last section of this first half. So it's going to be... traps.
I thought you were going to do the THX opening for movies. Remember that old thing?
It's a trap.
It's a trap! It's a trap! It's a trap!
All right, going on. So my first trap is going to be, hey, call the cop! He's got 5 points in 5 games and 4 goals in that span, and his name is Andrew Kopp. He's a center left wing, and he plays on the Winnipeg Jets. Some people have been interested in Kopp after his stellar week on the top line of Winnipeg. The fact of the matter is he will not sustain that. First of all, he's been seeing no power play time, so his upside is extremely limited. Second, in his second NHL season, he already has 12 points in 39 games, which is on pace to beat his 13 points in 77 games last season. Woohoo! Third, his Corsi 4 is 47.2%. That's far less than 50%, which is what you want. And his PDO is 103.2. That clearly right there shows where all his offensive production is coming from. Literally just puck luck, coincidence, and happenstance. Those are his best qualities.
103!
So, please leave Andrew Kopp on the wire for the love of God. Do not follow the points. I'll leave that to you, Bo. That's all I gotta say.
Well, my guy can't get much worse than that.
You never know.
But the player that I think is a trap this week, or in general, is Nikita Zaitsev.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a defenseman on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and recently he's seen an uptick of 8% owned in these past weeks. And those people couldn't have made much more of a mistake. They think 3 points in 3 games, that's great. He's an all-star. Well, you couldn't be more wrong.
He's an all-star.
Because Morgan Riley is returning from a lower body injury, and he is about to just, kick Zaitsev to the curb and pretty much make this rookie, not play on the power play unit anymore. Maybe push him down to the third line. We'll even see if he's on the team. Who knows? But don't expect him to be a pickup. I wouldn't even touch him right now. Next week, let's see him go down to -8% owned. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to move on to mine, and that's Andrew Ladd. Okay, moving on to the starts of the week.
That was great.
Honestly, I just that was a joke. I don't have any stats to back that up. Just Ladd made me very angry at the very beginning of the season, and I will always be mean to him the rest of the season. So, ignore what I just said. But let's move on to our...
You mean more what you didn't say.
Yeah, ignore what I didn't say. Okay, let's move on to probably what, in my opinion, the most important part of our podcast. It's helping you guys with your starts of the week, who we think you should play against which matchups.
Mm-hmm.
So, who wants to begin?
All right. I'll start it off then. Let's go to my start of the week. At the center position, Vincent Van Trocheck. So, This man is 61% owned. I was considering putting him in the waivers, but we talked about him a lot in our podcast. He's obviously been playing out of his mind if you've been watching any games with him or if you've been listening to the podcast at all. Classic motto of Trotrek. You better tro-check yourself before you tro-wreck yourself. So let me get you some knowledge right here. He has 12 points in the last 9 games. He's only been held off the score sheet once in that span. He's been the most productive member of the Florida squad lately and has helped his team around him become better. Florida's Corsi 4 is top 10 in the league, actually. But they are bottom in the league when it comes to goals for and PDO. So while they wait for the return of Barkov and Huberdeau, Trocheck will continue to put up points, so you should see him, you should get him in your lineup and start him with confidence, especially with their 3-game homestand coming up. So that's my pick.
Awesome.
Can't go wrong
And
there.
if you didn't know, this is the 3rd week that he's been in the starts, and rightfully so. We doubled down last week. I guess we can triple down if that's really a thing. But
We're going green here. We're recycling.
I mean, I always hit on 20. So, okay, Bo, why don't you take us through your pick for your center spot?
Okay, well, as Eddie already said, Trotrick has the hat trick, I guess. So I'm going to move on to my guy. And you know what, guys? I want to let you in on a little secret here.
Oh, a little
You ready?
secret?
Yeah, it's just a little one. It's actually a Brian little one.
Oh, man.
And this little man has been putting up some major points. He's on a 5-game point streak right now with 4 multi-point games. So, on that 5-game point streak, he has, 6 goals, 3 assists, 3 power play points, 12 shots. And that's 4 multi-point games. I can't stress that enough. So he's pretty much averaging 2 points a game right now. He's so close to it.
It's almost as if we talked about him earlier.
No.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
I mean,
I don't know how we did
That's
that.
a little amazing.
Oh, man. If you make it into both sections, he should be picked up immediately.
Honestly, though,
He's
if he's available in your league, pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, especially when this man's healthy. He is, he's one of the better players in this league. And right now, like Eddie mentioned earlier, he's officially in his happy place. Right
That's
between
true.
Ehlers and Line. So, I guess he likes playing with younger players. It's a little weird.
God damn.
But,
Bo, God
but-
dang it.
hey, I know we were talking great about him, but, some guys do a little better when they got some youth around them. So I'm all about Brian Little this week. He has his next 3 games on the road at St. Louis, at Dallas, and at Colorado. So those are some middle-of-the-pack teams and the very, very bottom of the barrel. So I think Brian Little can keep this point streak going, and hopefully the multi-point games going as well. So I would start him.
That would be nice. All right, well, let me move on to mine. Someone that I have always loved, and I'm thankful that he's recently been back from injury. That is Mika Zibanejad. So,
Hey.
I couldn't come up with anything for that name. Anyway, Mika
He's been a
Zibanejad.
bad man.
Well, in his past 4 games since returning from injury, he does not have a point. So that could be Zibanejad, right? However, his matchups this week could be just what he needs to get out of this small slump. He's home versus Columbus, then he's away at Buffalo, then home versus Calgary. Prior to his injury, Zibanejad had 17 points in 19 games. I expect him to get back on track soon, so for me, I would play Zibanejad this week. Those are pretty good matchups. All right, so let's move on to our left wingers. Do you guys mind if I started off with
Go for it.
one of probably my favorite player of all time? But this would be the Pattrick from Marleau. Patrick Marleau. I don't have to remind anyone of Marleau's recent history-making performance, but I will anyway. Marleau scored 4 goals, including a natty hattie for Patty, all within the 3rd period of San Jose's game against Colorado. In Colorado.
One of the toughest teams in the NHL.
My brother had tickets behind the Colorado net and saw all 4. I hate him. Marleau scored the following game as well against Winnipeg to reach 498 career NHL goals. I expect Marleau to make a severe push for the 500 mark ASAP, and this week's matchups could help him. He's home against Chicago, which will be the hardest matchup this week, but he is at home. Then he flies to face Vancouver in Vancouver and then back home versus Arizona. Marleau has some pretty good matchups this week. Chicago's being the only one that's a little questionable.
Yeah.
But his being so close to 500 makes me think he's going to want that so much more. So he has a little more motivation than other players on this list.
Oh, yeah. A lot of teams are taking notice, too, and they're going to be covering him a lot. So, but
His
luckily...
speed, though, I feel like he's one of those players that will back off the D, which allows other players on his line to make more plays as well. So you got yes and no, like a back and forth. They'll be watching him more, but that opens up Couture, right? To get the puck to Marleau, you know what I mean? So I think Marleau's going to get 500 this week. That's my prediction.
Okay. Good prediction. All right, Bo, take it over from here.
Yeah. All right. So this guy I'm gonna mention to you guys is, in my opinion, probably one of the best steals of the fantasy hockey season. So I kind of want to focus on him a little bit. He's completely flown under the radar for most of the season.
Pattrick.
And I'm going to tell you. Oh, well, yes, he's done that as well. But this is he's on a different team, and that's Mikael Granlund. So as you already know, he's on the Minnesota Wild, the top team in the Central. So he's going to be producing well, since the whole team has, as we were talking about Pominville earlier. We kind of mentioned Niederreiter, but I'm going to tell you why he is the steal of the fantasy hockey season.
Tell me why.
He is such a great player.
Tell me why.
I can't go much further. Well, the first reason why is because he plays all three forward positions.
All three center positions? That's amazing.
He's
Every
the first
line.
center, the second line center, the third line center. Hell, he is the fifth line center. That's how good he is.
And he's the second string quarterback.
Second string. He's the kicker. All right.
But for reals.
For real.
He plays center, left wing, and right wing. So this is like Cam's dream player right here.
Mm-hmm.
He, since he plays every forward position, his value increases tenfold. So that's one reason.
Yeah.
Second reason is he's leading scores on the Western Conference, leading Minnesota Wild with 12 goals, 30 assists, and 42 points in 48 games. So just for a little bit of perspective, those 42 points is tied with Pavelski right now.
Wow.
So that's really good right there. He's currently 2 points away from his career high that he set last season in 82 games.
Wow.
So you can only imagine what his career high is going to be this year. So the third reason I'm going to give you that he is the steal of fantasy hockey season is he is riding a 9-game point streak right now. So that's 2 goals, 9 assists, and 5 power play points.
Whew.
9 games.
Wow.
And this last reason I'm going to give you is the one that completely blew me away. So you can imagine, 42 points in 48 games. Like, he's been producing almost every game, and you couldn't be more right. He's only been held off the score sheet in 17 games this season. And guess who that is tied with? That is tied with
Crosby.
the NHL point leader, Connor McDavid.
David. Oh my goodness. No way.
Wow.
So
Holy crap.
that in itself, the fact that he is on pace with the NHL point leader in terms of, being able to score almost every game except those 17, that's crazy. So his next matchups are good ones, at Edmonton, at Calgary, and at Vancouver. So, I would even start him in bad matchups as well. He's been proving it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now he should be 100% owned, even though he's only 74% owned, and should be started 100% of the time. And I guess at this point, this is the last time that I will mention him, because he's an automatic start every week and is an obvious play. So Mikael Granlund, the fantasy steal of the year.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
I might argue Cam Atkinson, but let's keep going.
Hey, that's another good one. I'll argue that with you.
The fact that I just picked up Mikael Granlund in little waivers in my other league
oh my goodness.
makes him
I wish I was in that league.
I know, I just picked him up today. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good one, Bo.
That was a good pick.
Okay, well, since I guess that was our left wingers, even though he plays every position.
Yeah.
You guys ready to move on to the right wingers?
I am ready.
Let's move on.
Let's do it. So my right winger is Matt Zuccarello. So he is just a pure right winger. He is on the first line of the New York Rangers. And unfortunately, he recently snapped a 6-game point streak after the Rangers got shut out by Philly. But, on that point streak, he had 1 goal and 7 assists. So
Not bad.
But, that's not bad. But he's kind of having a tough season right now in terms of producing goals. Last season, he scored 26 goals, and he's kind of regressing. He only has 9 goals this season and 1 in the last month.
Oh, wow.
So, you think that's that's bad, and, he might not be shooting it as much, but he actually has 127 shots this season. And to put that in perspective, he had 166 shots last season, and his career high is 170.
Wow.
So the fact that he's
beat that.
already,
wow.
really close to his career, or, he's going to beat his career high, that's a fact.
For sure.
But even though he's not scoring goals, they will come. If you keep shooting at the net, you will score. If Brett Burns has proved anything, just fire the puck at the net, and eventually you'll be the top leading defenseman and a Hart Trophy nominee. So
Is it that easy?
It's that easy.
it's that easy.
We can do it in our league.
Wow.
Yes.
Great.
Well, anyways, his shot or his goals have been struggling, but his assists have not.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has 29 assists, over the halfway point right now, and last season he had 35 assists with a career high of 40. So
He might pass that too.
Yeah, so he might not pass his goals, but he's going to pass his assists. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So
That's
he's
awesome.
been playing first-line minutes with Stepan and Kreider, and his next 3 games are at home versus Columbus, on the road versus Buffalo, and then he's playing at home against Calgary again. So those are some favorable matchups aside from the Columbus one, but he's gonna put it in. I believe he can get a goal. So,
Yeah. That's a good
Matt
pick.
Zuccarello.
Very nice, sir. All right, I'm going to quickly move on to mine. I'm going to do Philippe Forsberg, pure left winger, 93% owned. You might be wondering why I'm even putting him in here, but a lot of people have been kind of tentative to play him because the Predators have been struggling, and he has been not scoring as much as he has last year. But in case you haven't noticed, Philippe has been scoring a lot of goals recently. He's been number 4 on the most productive left wing scorer in the past 7 days. He scored 6 goals in the past 7 games and has been rocking a great Corsi metric of 53.9%. His PDO has been really low at a 97.9%. So that's another reason why I expect his offense to increase as the Preds get healthy and make their push for the second half. Nashville has Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Detroit this next week. And they'll need to score goals in order to keep up in those games, especially Pittsburgh and Edmonton. They're high-scoring affairs. They're going to need to keep up, and I think they will for the most part. And Detroit's just a weaker team, so they might score there. Look for Forsberg's line to produce offensively for them. He's a great start this week. Get him in your lineup for sure.
And just to remind everyone, although we were on right wing, that it does play left wing.
He does play left wing. I just wanted to add him in.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Yeah,
thank you,
just
sir.
For the confusion, if anyone was wondering. So my person, we talked a little bit about him. I'm going to go very quickly because he does not really need an introduction. This would be Mr. Nino Niederreiter. He is on the hot Wild team.
Oh, yeah.
They're scoring in absurd bunches. Nino is taking full advantage of this with 6 goals and 6 assists in his past 9 games.
Oh.
The Wild have 3 road games this week, as Bo mentioned earlier, at Edmonton, at Calgary, and then at Vancouver. However, Minnesota owns a road record of 15-5-5. I am not worried. Play Nino all the time.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, I think that does it for
On his
our...
day off, you play him?
oh, absolutely.
He's always playing. Yeah.
Off season.
July 24th, he's playing. He's in. All right, so that does it for our right/Philip Forsberg left wingers. Let's move on to our defense. I just wanted to clarify. Let's move on to our defensemen. I'm going to start it off with someone that I already talked about. I got Dmitry Orlov on here. He was the 10th most productive defenseman in the past week. I spoke about him earlier, but just to reiterate, the Caps are hot. This week they face the Islanders in New York, Boston at home, Montreal in Canada, and then back home to face LA. Orlov has been very productive as of late, making him a great play. In the last 5 games, Orlov has 2 goals, 3 assists, is +5, 4 penalty minutes, 3 power play points, 7 shots, and 4 hits. For me, even though John Carlson is back, Orlov is still a must-play.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just keep rolling through this. I got Nick Leddy as our next defenseman. He was the most productive defenseman in the past week, putting up a 1.5 point per game pace, 6 points in 4 games. Don't think he'll continue that. But as a result of his great play, the New York Islanders have gone 9-3-3 since December 20th, which is the 3rd highest point percentage in that span. The Isles have some sweet matchups coming up versus Detroit and Carolina, so I would look for them to continue their winning ways, and Nick Leddy will be a big part of that.
Okay, I think Leddy was a good pick. I honestly wanted to choose him, but I saw you already stole him. So.
Yeah, I swiped him from under you.
Let it ride. Let it ride.
Let it go. Let it go. It's okay, Mr. Bo. Do not worry
I guess I don't have to go now. Okay, well, I'm going to give you 2 names, but I kind of had a little bit of trouble picking between both of them. So, you know what? I'm just going to pick both of them. I'm going to start off with Mike Green. He has 4 points in his past 5 games. And, since he's returned from injury, he has 6 points in 9 games. So he's been, he's a valuable part of that Detroit blue line. And if they want to start winning games and ending their current losing streak of 4 games, then they need him to step it up. So I think he can do that. They have their next 3 games against the New Jersey Devils, the New York Islanders, and then they're taking it to the road against Nashville. So those are hardest matchups. But the Detroit Red Wings aren't the best team this season. So we'll see how that goes. But I think Green will still produce even if the Red Wings don't win. So my next guy that I wanted to mention for you guys, since I said there was 2, is Cam Fowler.
Woo!
So there's nothing foul about this guy. He was actually an all-star, believe it or not. That kind of surprised me. But he played like an all-star during an all-star weekend. Mm-hmm. In the first game against the Central Division in the 3-on-3, he scored a game-high 4 points. He scored the first goal to start it off for the Pacific, and then he had 3 assists the rest of that game. And if you want to look at his NHL team, he has 3 points in his past 3 games. So you can tell that right now he is playing with confidence after a successful couple of weeks. And I can see him continuing to do that while he plays at home versus Colorado and then takes to the road against Florida and Tampa Bay. Those are some easy matchups. And the Ducks are a good team with Cam Fowler being one of their better defensemen. I can see him continuing to play at that elite level and to produce all-star numbers. So Cam Fowler, Mike Green are good starts for you this week.
All right. Sounds good. Let's quickly move on from there.
Yeah.
Get some goalies out of the way.
Why don't I just do mine real quick? Talk about our most favorite type of hour, the Philip Grubauer hour.
Love that hour.
The best hour.
Now, since the Capitals play 4 games this week, I expect Grubauer to get a piece of the action. They play at New York for the Islanders, home at Boston, away at Montreal, and then home versus the Kings. His set of back-to-backs, the Caps' back-to-backs that week, are against the Islanders and Bruins, so I think he will play against the Bruins at home. Regardless, Grubauer is an excellent start as he holds a season record of 9 wins, 2.13 goals against average, and a 9.24 save percentage. So for me, Grubauer is a good start if he gets the okay to play.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it's the only hour better than happy hour.
That is my happy hour.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the same thing. It's just German for happy hour.
Grubauer. Going to the bar to the Grubauer.
Yeah. I'm so Grubauer right now.
Okay, I'm going to go on real quickly to mine. I got Al Montoya playing back up to Carey Price. He's 11% owned, but Montreal has 4 games next week, including 3 home games. Their back-to-backs will come Saturday and Sunday, where they'll play Washington and Edmonton at home. Montoya will definitely, most likely, maybe, get one of those starts and will be a strong start for the Habs, sitting at the top of the Atlantic Division. His save percentage has been blemished by a bad game versus Winnipeg, where he let in 7 goals, and they didn't pull him because they wanted to, of course, give Price a break. But other than that, Montoya has posted above a 9.10 in 4 of his last 5 starts. So if you need a really quick spot start this week, Montoya is a great one along with Grubauer.
I agree.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. And the third guy we're going to talk about is Thomas Greiss. And yes, indeed, guys, the Greiss is right. Proving why the Islanders were able to waive Halak so easily. I mean, since New Year's Eve, Greiss is 6-2-3 with a 1.99 goal against average, a .936 save percentage, and he's allowed 22 goals. And he has 2 shutouts, with the shutouts coming at Boston and versus Dallas. So I know I said he had 22 goals, but one of those games was a 7-goal game versus Carolina. So you take away those 7 goals, and he's only allowed 15 goals, and he went 6-1-3. So That's pretty impressive right there. And listen to this. The Islanders are currently the 3rd best team in the league since New Year's. And Greiss is a reason why. So they're currently riding on the backs of Tavares and Greiss, and they'll continue to do that until they can't carry the load no more. So right now, Greiss is the number 1 fantasy goalie in the past 2 weeks, and I think he can continue to do that. I mean, his next 3 games, he'll have a tough one at home versus Washington, but at least he's at home. But the next 2, he's going to play at Detroit, who's on a 4-game losing streak, and then he's playing at home versus Carolina, who's on a 5-game losing streak. So those are, 2 teams that are the 2nd and the 3rd worst losing streaks right now behind Colorado. So I can't see how Greiss isn't guaranteed at least 2 wins this week. So, as we said before, the Greiss is right. Start him.
All right. So that's going to do it for this part of the episode. Tune in later in the week, and we got a new, better segment coming up, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So, as of right now, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Puck Buddy Podcast.
Yeah.